Good afternoon. What's up, hockey fans? Welcome to the Oddman Rush here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I'm David Dwork, your host of Local10.com, where I cover the Panthers on a daily basis. Today's show, just like every other show, brought to you by Intense Nutrition in Coral Springs. And coming to you live right here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. All right. So let's dive right in. First, I'll just let you know later on, I'll be joined by Caitlin Daly of the Fifth Line, also here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network as well. She'll be popping on in a little while, and we will be getting into a lot of Cats topics. So we'll start off right now with just the latest news. The Panthers had a practice this morning at the Ice Den in Coral Springs. The biggest news out of practice today was there was no Sam Reinhart, no Carter Verhaeghe, and no Mason Marchment. We've since found out that Reinhart and Marchment have been added to the COVID protocols, so they are out for tomorrow. Carter Verhaeghe will hopefully be in the lineup tomorrow. Today was a maintenance day for him. He did leave Montreal, the game against Montreal on Saturday early. He missed about the last 6+ minutes. He left the bench, went back. Bruno said after the game it was precautionary reasons and that he expected him to be okay. So today being a maintenance day, you could kind of see it going either way. But hopefully he'll be okay and he'll be in the lineup tomorrow because they will need him, as the Panthers will be without three of their main forwards. Marchment maybe in and out of the tops. I was going to say 3 top 6 forwards, but Marchment's kind of all over the place. We'll get into all that a little bit more detail in just a minute. Also in practice today, Olli Levy, the young defenseman, he was on the ice, no longer in COVID protocols, I'm told. Considered non-roster for now, but that'll change, in short order, probably, especially with, guys getting added to the COVID list with the taxi squad. There's a lot of flexibility there with the roster. So I would expect Uleva to be designated sooner rather than later. And then also practice today, the taxi squad was there. So that's Matt Kierstead and Chase Pristy, who came up from AHL Charlotte. And then Spencer Knight, who's, the Panthers right now kind of have the 3 goalie situation rolling. So Knight, obviously, not eligible for waivers, so easy to pop in the taxi squad. So they were all on the ice today as well. Now, back to what I mentioned before with the COVID additions. It's Sam Reinhart, Mason Marchment, and then also assistant coach Tuomo Ruutu. The 3 of them were added to the protocol today. So they will not be playing tomorrow. We know that for sure. Well, Ruutu will not be coaching tomorrow, but neither of the 3 will be out there tomorrow when the Panthers host the Calgary Flames at FLA Live Arena. Beyond that, we'll have to just see how it shakes out as the Panthers hit the road after the Calgary game. And I think their next 3 are on the road, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said, they're going to be down 3 forwards with Reinhart, Marchment, and Sam Bennett, who's going to be out due to his 3-game suspension due to the illegal check to the head to Cedric Paquette, also in that Saturday game against Montreal. So, it's likely that the Panthers are going to have to call up somebody from AHL Charlotte. I did ask Bruno after practice today if that was going to be the case, and he said, they're going to be discussing it today. They probably by now already have that discussion. And I would expect at least 1 forward to be coming up from Charlotte. Even though the Panthers do have 12 forwards right now, you should have at least 1 more guy, right? Just in case, as the taxi squad has the 2 defensemen, because we know Bill Zito loves to keep his defensemen around. In terms of who comes up from AHL Charlotte, you would think probably like a Grigory Denisenko or a Alexi Heponiemi, like one of those guys. It seems like they're the more prime candidates at this point. Maybe I wouldn't mind seeing Cole Schwint. Maybe they go with more, the veteran guys like you got your Zach Dalpe. There are options, and it would depend on where they would see this person slotting into the lineup. With that and how the lines are going to shake out with these guys out of the lineup now. One thing that was interesting today was Anton Lundell, the amazing rookie that the Panthers have, who just looks so much better than a 20-year-old rookie should. He was taking Sam Bennett's spot, centering the second line between Jonathan Huberdeau and Anthony Duclair. So that's intriguing. I'm really excited to see Lundell with a couple of guys of that caliber for a full game. So that's a cool development that we'll be looking out for tomorrow against Calgary. There was the third line, I guess you could say today, was Joe Thornton centering Frank Vetrano and Owen Tippett. Just interesting because those are kind of the three guys you could see slotting in and out of the lineup as health and COVID and all that stuff kind of allows, as they've kind of become the fringe guys. Frank Vetrano, after being a healthy scratch, he's played well the last couple of games. He's scored a couple goals. Owen Tippett's made some chances, gotten some good opportunities. I mean, with Thornton, it's more what you're bringing from him. It's just maintaining his minutes, and all that is all good. Because as we saw in the last game, in the Montreal game, Tippett and Vetrano were in, and Luosterainen and Lombard were out. So as well as that fourth line had been playing, and they were back together today, which is Luosterainen centering Lombard and Hornquist. It was nice to see them get some run and kind of maintain for a while in that. And we're just going to have to see how it all shakes out, right? But it's just going to depend. Getting back to my point I was starting to make in terms of the AHL call-up, is it going to be somebody that's going to go into that third line? The first line, it seems to be, assuming Carter Verhage does play, he'll be on that first line with Barkov and Maxime Mamin, who stayed on that top wing slot for a little while now, with Declaire moving down and Reinhart out of the lineup. So, yeah, I mean, it's intriguing. I like seeing Maxime Mamin get the opportunity. I don't know if it's going to, be a big picture thing. You just haven't seen enough from him in that regard. I mean, he's got some good flashy moments, but I mean, there's a lot of guys that get good flashy moments, not necessarily deserving of a spot on a line with Sasha Barkov, who every shift you really have to be ready to push it, to go possibly scoring chances. I mean, that's kind of what you expect from the Panthers' top six, is just consistent flow and scoring chances and a lot of puck possession, especially. So, we'll see. Mamin could kind of fall into a similar dynamic that we see Mason Marchment now, because they're both big guys. They're both skilled guys, but they can kind of play up and down the lineup. They can play different roles. It's not out of the realm to be physical. I mean, we've seen Marchment. He's, physical as hell. But, at the end of the day, it's good to see guys like Maxime Mamin getting an opportunity not just in the top six, but on the top line. So one good thing, since our last show, we're back on the ice. The Panthers have played 3 games in the last week, 3 wins, 3 big wins, 18 goals in the 3 wins. And I mean, yeah, it's helped when you put up a 9 spot on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Let's just take a second. Let's just take a quick pause. And 9 goals against Tampa. Yeah. It's nice. But I mean, I think getting Barkov and Duclair back in the lineup, it makes a world of difference to this scoring output that the Panthers put together, because I mean, I think those two guys are so uniquely dynamic in just what Barkov is kind of the full service guy, where he does it all at a top tier elite level. And Duclair, he just brings that element of speed and skill that very few possess. Removing both of those guys from the lineup, it cuts a hole. It really it limits you when you're used to a certain level of production, right? It really kind of limits you. It cuts a leg out from under you. So having those two back in the lineup did make the world of difference. And also getting back Mason Marchment, who, obviously he's going to be out tomorrow on the COVID list, like we just said, but don't underestimate what Mason Marchment brings to the table. And I see a lot of the comments on Twitter, and I really think there's a lack of understanding into how much Marchment brings to the table for this Panthers team. Now, man, it's really like, it's hard to explain without having like video to go along with examples, but he doesn't take anything away from any time he's on whatever line he's on the ice. Well, you put him on the top line with Barkov, he's going to be there driving possession. He's going to be driving the net and just helping produce, keeping the puck away from the opponent. You put him on a checking line. I mean, you've seen what Marchment does. He's flying all over the place. He's knocking guys around. He's happy to get physically involved, and it's great to see. It's just like overall, there's just so much to like about his game. Like, and the more I see him and the more I see him improve, because he's still going to be improving. You got to keep in mind also, this is another guy. It's like so many guys in the Panthers that are in their mid-20s that are still entering the prime years of their career, where they're only going to get better, usually at an exponential level, because those are the years that you do it. But yeah, I just love how he's got skill. He's got puck skills. He's not afraid to throw his body around like a wrecking ball. He has an elusive shot too. You see like that wrist shot he had against Montreal. Pretty sure it may have been one of the 9 goals against Tampa. It's so hard to keep track. Just very elusive shot, nice bar down. And just he's not a flashy guy, right? He just does a lot of the little things well. And I think players like that bring a lot of value to the table. I mean, you think of like in terms of the Swiss Army knife type guys that you can put all over. You think of a guy like Noah Chari, who's very valuable to the Panthers. And it's amazing that they're as deep as they are this year, where you can lose a guy like a Chari really right off the bat before you even really get going. And, you know, it's at least seemingly not skipping a beat. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'd be even better with that other guy back in the lineup. Just an embarrassment of riches when you think about the depth on this Panthers team. So yeah, another cool piece of news that came out today was Jonathan Huberdeau. He was named the NHL's 3rd star of the week earlier today. I mean, they gave it to him for 3 games last week. The Panthers played 3 games last week. Huberdeau actually only had points in 2 of those 3 games, 8 points in those 2 games last week. But I mean, he doesn't necessarily have to get on the score sheet to make a difference. I mean, you know, the Ranger game, the come from behind win against the Rangers, didn't get on the score sheet, but still, I mean, impacting the game in many ways, because as we've seen now, he's also playing penalty kill in addition to all the minutes he does, even strength and power play. His 2-way game is improved. He's more physical now. I mean, it's kind of remarkable that this guy is still getting better. And it's, you know, the same with Barkov, the same with Ekblad, the same with so many of these young guys that we've just kind of watched grow from boys to men in the NHL. But yeah, Jonathan Huberdeau is just entering another realm right now. I remember he was the first star of the week also back in December when he had 9 points in a 3-game span. Also all wins. Notice a trend. And yeah, it's just so impressive. I mean, I think right now, what is he? He is 4th in the NHL in scoring. Sole possession of 4th place in the NHL in scoring. He's got 41 points through just 32 games. It begs the question, right? As we're about a third of the way into the season now. Is he a legitimate Hart Trophy candidate as the league's MVP? It's something to consider. I mean, you see, the MVP talk is like, usually you're looking at the top scorers in the league. And that's kind of like the first place you go, like, oh, who's the MVP? Well, who's the Art Ross leader? You go kind of that route. But I always kind of think of like the value, you take a player away and how bad is that team going to hurt? That's why I thought like last season, particularly why Sasha Barkov deserved a bit more Hart Trophy consideration than he got, just because last year, I think Sasha was extremely key to this team, especially the second half after Ekblad got hurt. He was so integral to the Panthers' success. I thought if you removed Barkey last year, the team really would not have survived. So in that kind of thought process, I don't know. Is Barkov and Duclair more difficult to replace than Huberdeau? It's hard to say, because Huberdeau just, it's a tough one, right? I'm curious, like what you guys might think. If you want to hit me up in the comments or on Twitter after the show, how does that shake out in terms of the most valuable player? Is Huberdeau the most valuable player to his team? I mean, you're going to be thinking about guys like Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews, the go-tos this year. But it's a fun thought to really kind of let stir around in there. But, all right. So before we move on in the show, I do want to take a moment here and talk about the awesome sponsor of the Odd Man Rush, and that is Intense Nutrition in Coral Springs. Located at 2540 North University Drive in the Springs. Really just a few minutes away from the Panthers ice den, not far at all. So I always like to tell you, if you're looking for those big box prices, but that personal touch of a local business, you definitely want to stop into Intense Nutrition. They're going to give you superior quality of product and superior service of staff. Their awesome staff is going to take care of all your vitamin supplement needs. They will work with you one-on-one. You go talk to them. They will help you for your own specific stacks. You want to fight off flu and cold season. You want to help yourself in your basketball rec leagues, your swimming laps, whatever you may be up to. They will help you and get you what works best for you, particularly personally. They also offer this amazing program called the Intense Cleanse and Detox. If you want to lose between 10 and 15 pounds in just 10 days, go to Intense Nutrition and ask about the Intense Cleanse and Detox, and they will hook you up. And also, I mean, look, if you're just going to the gym, if you're just at a normal gym routine and you need some help with your pre or post workout regimens, they got you there as well. Just head into Intense Nutrition, 2540 North University Drive in Coral Springs. They're right on the corner of University and Royal Palm Boulevard, or you can give them a call at 954-775-0257. Again, Intense Nutrition in Coral Springs. Hit them up, 954-775-0257. All right. So I kind of was thinking about something there for a second with what I was saying about the replacement of Duclair, Barkov. Anthony Duclair. Great season, right? We saw kind of bits and pieces of what Duclair could bring to the table last season. I mean, really, his last season in Ottawa before the Panthers signed him. He's really kind of been on that upward trajectory. But I think this year it's been amazingly consistent. I think it's been every game you're seeing Duke's A game. And it's really kind of translated amazingly on the ice. He's almost at a point per game pace, which is great for Duclair because, I mean, earlier in his career, he was much more of a goal scorer than he was of a playmaker. And I think now, like, his entire game, his repertoire has really expanded. And it's great to see because he's so electric. He's played 24 games, excuse me. He's got 22 points in those 24 games and spread out evenly. He's got 12 goals and 10 assists. He was getting some time on power play 1 against Montreal on Saturday, which was interesting because the Panthers kind of did have their full facilities of forwards at their availability. I think the question with Duke is just going to be, is this consistent level going to be, is this it? As he turned a corner, and is this the player he's going to be now? I mean, he just signed that extension with the Panthers, so he's going to be here for another few years. And another guy, I think he's 26. Actually, you know what? I got it right here. That's the beauty of this live stuff. You can just look it right up. Yeah, 26 years old. So just another one of these guys entering their prime, only going to keep getting better, surrounded by other talent, which, inspires you to do better. It helps you learn because you're learning, new tricks and new tools from all these other guys who are at the top of their game. And yeah, I mean, just, coming out of the holiday break, he's come out streaming like a banshee. He's got 5 points in those 3 games, including 3 goals. He had the 2-goal effort the other night on his mom's birthday, which was so cool to see him talking about that after the game and the big smile on his face with his mom in the stands. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? So yeah, I mean, with Duke, it's just, what's the ceiling at this point? That's really where we're at, right? Like, what's he going to take it to? What level is he going to take it to? Interesting. I mentioned before, he's on that line. What we saw today in practice, I hope we see it tomorrow against Calgary, which is Duclair and Huberdeau being flanking Anton Lundell. Just because, I mean, we know what Huberdeau and Duclair can do, and you throw this amazing rookie into that mix, and just excited to see them hopefully get a good 15, 20 shifts, and we'll see how it rolls. But another thing that I wanted to touch on today as we round the 2/3 pull of the Odd Man Rush is just how this Panthers team can score. They're second in the NHL right now in scoring with 122 goals, which Yeah, like that's pretty amazing. The only team that has more is Vegas. They've got 5 more goals. They've scored 127, but they've done it in 3 more games. So you would think at that, if you're looking at point per game, then the Panthers are the tops. That's awesome, right? I mean, think about that, Panthers fans. Think about all the years that you've been waiting for something like this. And now not only is the team really good, but they're also really fun and exciting to watch because, the Panthers have had a couple of good years where it's been kind of a defensive team or a muck and grind type deal where, you're trying to eke out close games. But this team is like ripping their shirt off, flying at you with fists of fury, pumping in 4 or 5 goals. They could score 2, 3 goals in, the span of a minute or two. It's just amazing. And when you combine that, with in terms of like when you think goals against, they're middle of the pack. They've given up 95 goals, which is right around, I think, 14 or 15th in the lead. So you have like dead center, middle of the pack type deal, which, it's not great. It's not terrible. It's acceptable when you're scoring as much. Hey, Armando, what's up, man? Let's see. Hard to say what would be bigger last night. Yeah, no, that's exactly like why it's, an interesting thing to debate because they both are very unique, but they're both so integral to the Panthers' success. And you saw when when Barkov got hurt first, and the team was able to kind of maintain still despite that. But then when they were both out of the lineup, that's where the struggle started. And that's what really got me thinking, like, man, when you take those two very different dynamics out of the picture, it can cause an issue. But yeah, so just kind of finishing my thought on the ridiculous scoring pace that the Panthers have been on. They have 4 guys that have scored at least 11 goals. And what, we're 32 games in, whatever it is. Do some quick math here. 21, 7, and 4. So yeah, 32, right? Good job. All right, so 32 games in, and they've got 4 guys with at least 11 goals. They've got 10 guys with at least 7 goals. That's the Florida Panthers we're talking about, right? Yeah. Again, I don't say that as a knock to the guys in this roster at all. That's the, looking around, that's the guy who grew up in South Florida, following this team from its inception, looking at what we've got right now compared to what it's been for the majority of its existence. So I'm constantly just trying to soak it in and just like, oh my God, this is sick. Because it is. You got to enjoy it, man. Got to enjoy it. All right, what else did I want to get into today? Sam Bennett, suspended for 3 games. Let's talk about that for a second. I watched the hit several times. I watched the explanation from the NHL Department of Player Safety. And I mean, yeah, the 3 games seems a bit much because look, was it a tough, violent hit? Was his head? You could argue whether it was the principal point of contact, but it certainly took most of the brunt. Absolutely. Worse. I mean, look, first of all, it wasn't called a penalty in the game. Worse certainly have gone uncalled and unchecked by the league. Let's be clear. There have been some pretty nasty occurrences that have not gotten a sniff. So know that. I think it's the only thing that really irks me. Like I'm fine with the suspension, but 3 games, is he's considered a repeat offender. I mean, you remember he was suspended for game 2 of the playoff series against Tampa last year because you remember, and for that one, is just thinking back, for that one I totally got because he came across the entire ice, 80 feet with tunnel vision to nail this dude. I don't remember who it was he hit. Was it Ross Colton? I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, that one, that one I got it. I was like, man, that was probably not the smartest thing and deserved a suspension. But because of that, now he's a repeat offender. And now he's at 3 games that he's going to have to miss this week. And that 3 games seems a lot bigger now that you've also going to be with that for at least one of those games. You're going to be without Mason Marchment. You're going to be without Sam Reinhart, who has been on an absolute tear for a while now. I mean, Reinhart has been performing at a point per game or higher pace for a good month. So you just hope that it doesn't really knock him off of his game. But yeah, I mean, Bennett's going to be out Tuesday against his old team, Calgary, which I'm sure that sucks. Obviously he was looking forward to that. Hadn't faced them yet. There's Panthers are supposed to be up in Calgary in a couple of weeks, actually, assuming that trip, those games don't get postponed. They've been postponing a lot of the games in Canada, and I think the lead went right up to like the day or two before the Panthers start that trip where they're out in Western Canada, Calgary, Edmonton, all that. So hopefully that doesn't get postponed as well. But I'm sure that Sam's not too happy that he's not going to be playing tomorrow, and then he's also going to be out at the start of the road trip, which is Thursday at Dallas. And then Saturday at Carolina. So, I mean, look, at the end of the day, right, you just got to be a little bit more cautious because it was a nasty hit. And look, I'm kind of backtracking on myself now because cautious, yeah, I wouldn't call Bennett an out of control player or a dangerous player at all. So if he's playing right on that edge and he's punishing guys like that, obviously, I'm not okay with a hit to the head, and I'm sure he's not either. I'm sure that wasn't his intention. These guys aren't out there trying to hurt each other, but I'm okay with him playing on that edge. Just like I'm okay with Ryan Lombard playing on that edge, and Radko Gudas playing on that edge, and Patrick Hornquist playing on that edge, and Mason Marchment, and anybody who's got a physical element to their game. You want them to be in the back of the other team's head. You want them to be wondering about, where is this guy? I got to watch myself around this guy. If he catches me, I'm going to be on my ass. So, yeah, just sucks that he's got to be out for 3 games against 3 good teams. Calgary's, fighting for playoff, posture in the West. Dallas has had some big streaks this year after a pretty ugly start. They've turned it around, and Carolina is friggin' juggernaut right now. And it's, those are both on the road as well. So, we'll see, but the strength of this team has been their depth. And then the last thing I want to touch on today, speaking of depth, is just I wanted to mention the taxi squad. They were, as I said, participating in practice today, being that there's only the 3 guys on there. It was able to kind of be a full practice, and you were missing a few guys as well. Because you remember last year they did separate skates, but last year it was also a bigger group. So I think just like with anything else, I think it's a day-to-day fluid situation in terms of how they're going to be working and who's there. For now, it's the goalie and the 2 defensemen. And the goaltending situation overall, it's just kind of an interesting mix, right? Because we've got this guy, Jonas Johansson, who, he's been practicing, he's been skating. He may have gotten a start back before the holiday pause. So, if he gets a start, that's what I'm looking for, because, Knight did start the game before he went down to the taxi squad, just, for keeping the roster fluid. I'd like to see him get I mean, is he going to start this week with these tough road games? Probably not. But I mean, you have to get him out there at some point and see what you got, right? Are you going to keep doing the roster juggle with your goalies? Maybe they are. I'd like to see him. They talked him up. Zito definitely talked him up, said the goaltending department liked him, was anxious to get their hands on him and to see what they could do. So, yeah. All right. I think I've covered everything that I wanted to get to. Unfortunately, my guest, Caitlin Daly, couldn't make it. I'm not sure what happened there, but hopefully all is good on her end, and we'll catch up with her on another show down the line, I'm sure. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of the Odd Man Rush, brought to you by Intense Nutrition. Thank you again, as always, to my amazing producer, Manny Chang. You don't see him, you don't hear him, but he's there making sure this all works. And his hard work is certainly appreciated. And yeah, thanks to everybody, for all you guys, for watching, for commenting, for tweeting. I really appreciate it. I always enjoy our interactions, and yeah, we'll do it again next week. So until then, I'm David Dwork. I hope you all had a great happy and safe New Year, and we'll see you next week. Until then, take care and go Cats.